Hello, we are getting stream rolling. We are on the second stream of doing 100 days of the amalgamation. Let me stream in again. And then I think, yeah. Oh, well, what was that? Okay. I got Minecraft up and going. So we just gotta get into it. Bop, bop. I'll, yep, random stuff. This one. Lovely. Okay. We managed to get, it's actually an earlier start. I started earlier than yesterday, but later than I wanted to today. So technically we're still early. It's fine. And hopefully I'm gonna do my best. Oh, I'm somewhere random. I'm gonna do my best to make sure we still get stream tomorrow, which is Twitch exclusive. I'm just playing whatever the hell I want to play. This time it's Doroko Wanko. It's a cute little free game on Steam, and that feels like a bit of a shorter game, and I'm hoping it will be, because literally last night after stream, a game I've had my eyes on for years. I saw Stampy Cat play this when I was a kid, and it was within the last year I found out the name of the game, or I went specifically searching for it or something like that. And I've had it on my wish list for a while, and I got an email last night that it was 75% off. It was a whopping $3. So of course I bought it. And it's called Broken Age, and it's lovely. I can't wait to play it. It's a point-and-click game. I can't wait to play it. Okay, anyway. Actual amalgamation stuff. Stronghold, right, and then we're changing the mods every 10 days. I'm remembering I need to fix the terraform smoothing and get rid of tough as nails. Those are two things. Because I hate having to deal with the water. Oh, we don't like cave spiders. You are goofy, sir. You look goofy. I'm actually kind of happy that that Ascendant Mob changed how it works. Because honestly, making them only level up after 1,000 blocks is so much better. This is the underground part. I want to go through some of the library if I can first. And see if I can get any... I would like to try and get some sharpness, maybe. Why am I swimming? Oh, that's why I'm swimming everywhere. Where... There's not... This just horribly spawned, unfortunately. This is the worst I've ever seen it spawn. I've seen it waterlogged, but not to this end. It's messed with a ship. That would be part of the why. Can I leave? Thank you. This is just horrible. Okay, maybe we do go downstairs. Maybe we do. Maybe we do that thing. I don't want to get stuck in there. Lava bucket? Oh, that room. Okay. Start from here. I don't feel up to tackling the nether quite yet. But we can go do that if we want. I would much rather continue. Oh, those are armor spells. Is that a... No, it's not a mimic. But it might have loot. Looting? Eh. I will take... Oh, day 8. And yes. I think another one of the things I want to add is a proper day counter, because we're just using the F3. Day 8. I want looties. Yes. Oh, yes. And of course that. Yes. Okay. I don't know why I'm keeping diamonds down there out of all places. But okay. And I don't need spider eyes. No. Okay. I mean, I'll take it. Yep. Honestly, I am, like, slightly low energy, but I just want to play this. I don't care. I like Amalgamation. I just want to play it. Even if, like, running through the stronghold is a wee bit boring. I want to get the loot. Loot? Loot? Oh. Can't open it if there's something above it. Oop. Get rid of that. Yep. Yes. We don't care about iron. I got a lot of iron now. I will steal that. Yes, I thought. Okay, do that. Is there another one on the other side? No, there. And I'm already out of water. Oh. Well. That's a little, like, I love this stronghold. It is so much better for loot, and it's so much more fun to explore. I do love the young stronghold, but in my opinion, I like playing this one more. Where am I now? I got away somehow. I want to be back over here. Yeah, back over here. Maybe here will do? I'll do, yeah. Yeah, you're slow, boy. Oh no, that's good. Okay. More obsidian. Yeah. Food and obsidian. And there's a mimic. You're a mimic. You're a mimic. You're a mimic. Flamingo! I've wanted this one for ages. Forget the hell. Flamingo. I can swim through air? Yes. Limited period of time. Left control while in the air to start swimming. No, because that's my ability. Fine. No flamingo. Okay, what here? What? I'll take. Probably don't need it. Oh, I'm taking it anyway. What? Why is this just absolutely covered in water and water caves? This is the worst I've ever seen it spawned, and I've seen it spawned pretty bad a lot of the time. I don't... What? Blazing Blast. You may learn more about this relic on the research. Okay. You're a thing, yes? Not sure how to feel about you. Okay. Void Blossom or just a Lush Cave? Okay, just a Lush Cave. And there's an ender... Why am I seeing that there's a villager up there? Is there a zombie villager up there? Probably, honestly. What? Why? Lizard. Hello, Belly Bob. Why is... Oh, it is! It is a zombie villager. Okay. Yeah, we don't care about that. Oh! We don't care about that. You know, Stronghold ain't all it's cracked out to be, honestly. I was so worried it was gonna be horrible, but it's just... really easy. It is just easy to deal with, and there's not really anything in it for me. Not really. I mean, the only thing that's really useful here is the portals. I call cheats, but it origins. I'm a phantom. It drains my hunger. It's modded. And I believe Ascendant mobs updated, so they're not as horrible as they once were. Because once we get out of the 1,000 range, then they start leveling up. But before that, they're not gonna level. Which makes this infinitely easy. Hi, buddy. Oh, thank God. Yeah. So, Amalgamation is now 1,000 times easier. It is way easier and, like, all the challenge is gone, so I'm gonna have to find new ways to make it interesting. That's a unique spawn. Oh, hi, secret room. I forgot about you. Oh, boop, 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 boop. Oh, no, no, no. Nope. I already have a better backpack than that. Tough as nails is not saying, though. I'm getting rid of this so quickly. No, thank you. No. Who was first to buy food from you? Oh, the PSMP? That'd be you. I'm drinking water when I don't need, so I need food. There we go. Okay, I don't really care about the stronghold. I'd rather upgrade ourselves first. So let's just go stronghold. Oh wait, before we go back to spawn, I want to see just how horrible the main portal is. Because I imagine it's gonna suck. It's just gonna suck. I've never not seen this room not be waterlogged. I think by far this takes the cake, though. This is the worst I've ever seen it. Because almost everything here is waterlogged. You know, let's go check out this spot over here. Hi, buddies. No. No. At least I'm not getting one-shot by the silverfish anymore. That's good. Oh, you're a mimic. Which have you? Another villager hat. I already have that one. Don't need that. You know what? Oh, yeah, I'll take all that. Free. Why not? This area will usually have some good stuff. Usually. I need stupid water again. I have never seen this room before. That's new. Okay. Any goodies? It doesn't seem like... No. I think that's the funny thing about being a phantom is I can just run through and be like, yeah, is there anything in here? No. Oh. Is 960 diamonds a lot? I'd say so. Especially if we're horse flute. Especially if we're on a non-modded server. Yeah. This one, not so much. You can just get ridiculous fortune. Normal servers, absolutely yes. I don't need that or that. I want that. And you. At this point, I kind of just want to see if I'm need water. I have regen. Where's? Oh, I still have regen from the other campfire. Okay. I was like, where? What am I seeing? I don't know. I need water. I hate the toughest nails. It's just annoying. Is it nighttime? No, almost. I don't like having this compass, but I do like knowing what time of day it is. So I'm gonna have to see. I know there's a mod I've used in the past to keep like track of the time at the top. I got bored, so I mined a lot. Yeah. I did the same thing the other night. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I just need to do something mindless until I stream. And that's exactly what I did. Okay, I don't think there's much else for me here. Let's go over... Hi, dude. Bye, dude. And slowly make our way through. Bye, guys. Bye, guys. Oh, lovely. Let me just... Yeah, goodbye. feel like that's over. It's over lava! It's over lava. It's over lava. It was over lava, guys. Yeah, it was over lava. Fun burn. Yup. I think dungeon's the closest we have to spawn. I don't really have one above ground at spawn. Yeah, it's still all this junk. We should probably get about, like, a proper base out here. Because I am gonna need one of those. What's the near... I need to steal another waystone. There's one northwest. I want to get, like, a proper base going. I mentioned it briefly last time. I want to get, like, a sort of hobbit hole going. Just somewhere I can really just prop down my stuff. But just a little bit aesthetic. Just a little. I'm barely missing caves, apparently. Never mind. Where is this? I miss my wife, Tails. I miss her a lot. I'll be back. There we go. Give me this. Oh, I still had another way. Okay. Fire aspect here. I don't care about all this. Upstairs we go. I don't need food, I need water. I want to go home. Oh no. I'm still stuck at work, or haven't been able to get away from work yet. Where the hell am I? I've been, like, almost entirely underground. I haven't been above ground at all. I mean, I guess, sure. Take this. No. Golden apple. Nightbot. I wanna go home. What's that from? I can't remember. Where's my bed? There it is. We're on day 9 then? I think so. Today's not the best. Oh no. Yeah, day 9, day 9. What horrible customers did you get today? Or is it just people being idiots kind of day? Seriously though, where am I? What? Okay, I guess. This is actually a cool area. I genuinely might base here. This is just a nice spot. People keep starting political debates and just very homophobic comments because of my hair. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's not cool, not fun. Them dick. Yeah. Oh, right. I'm a phantom. I can't be in the daylight. Yep. Like dog gets... Yeah! I don't understand why hair's such an issue for a lot of people. Because we even make a big deal out of it with dog's hair. Like, people still get upset about dyed animals fur when we've been doing it for centuries. Because we painted ourselves and painted our animals, painted our hair. We've done all of this for centuries. The debate on whether or not to do it is not new at all. And I don't think you're gonna stop anybody. I'm trying to get a new headset. Ooh, what kind? How long have I had this? I have like one audio. I think audio. It's spelled with an O. I know that. One audio or something like that. That I've used for ages. And it's still my second go-to headset, although right now I have over-ear headphones that I use the most because I have glasses. And so these ones are what I use most of the time if I just need to have closed audio and I don't want everybody to hear me blasting the same song on repeat. And the headphones are when I need to block out all noise. I'm on break right now. Someone tells me that I'm eating too much again. I'm decking someone. Let me eat my blue corn chips in peace. Oh dear. Yeah, people are weird about other people's bodies. I don't know. There's like an insane audacity with commenting on other people. Headphones are a great escape. Absolutely. Why am I freezing again? Why is my person cold? Chill. Really? Yeah. It's... Was it beat? There's this song, "The Day Nobody Dies." I think that's Beatles. When we see the... I don't think that's Beatles. Now I'm saying it aloud. Is that a fucking Nickelback? Is that a Nickelback? The Day Nobody... It is... Yeah, it's Nickelback. I should have known. It's if everybody cared. Everyone cared. It is... Yeah, it is Nickelback. I'm significantly taller than you. I need more calories than you as well, as I've been active in lifting 15 to 20 pounds every few minutes. Yep. I value my job, unfortunately. Yeah. Like, people forget calories. We need calories. That's our energy. I sent you a pic of the headset I'm trying to get you. Ooh. Let's see. It's always the old white woman. Yes. Let me see. Ooh, proper gamer headset. Hell yeah. It's like a RBG headset. It's a red one. I'm like proper gamer headset. Yeah. What kind is it, Billy? Billy Bob. The picture, I don't recognize brand logos. And all I can see is a brand logo on it. I don't even know where I'm running at this point. I'm just seeing what's around my spawn. There's dripstone over here. There's something over here. Oh, I love how speedy I am in water. Why am I speedy in water, though? What? I have Aqua Affinity and Respiration. That's not Depth Strider. Why am I Speedy Gonzalez in water? Where? Oh, you! This is one of the tents I added. We are not doing the roller skates. I am going to show immediately why. Because it's just... Oh no. Oh no. It's an ability. I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh. Oh, dude, speaking of. Oh. You go into a roller rink, I assume? What? What? You are floating, sir. Okay, something didn't work with my terrain smoothing mod. I found my rollerblades yesterday. Hell yeah. Nice. I need to try going rollers. Oh my god, you're adorable. Oh my god, you guys are so cute. Anyway, I need to try roller skating again because the last time I went was before I went to physical therapy for all of my like all the pain I was in and fixing my posture. When I'm up there, we need to go. Absolutely. Boop. There we go. And then this is just abandoned. I want them just so I can actually start talking on the server. That's so fair. But did I have a... Oh, it did have a mic with it, didn't it? Yeah, it has a mic with it. Hell yeah. So you don't have to slowly type out all the time? Oh, gotta go. Alright, bye-bye, Pumpkin. Good luck. Okay, what? I don't want to explore too far away. I don't want to explore too much. I think we'll stop exploring at this area. Just because I want to change the chunk. I have a terrain smoother mod. It is not working well. And I'm pretty sure it's why that stronghold is so messed up. I think for the moment, I do kind of like this mountain though. I just love the basic ass mountain biome. I think this would actually be a pretty nice spot. Oh, this is perfect for a hobbit hole. Hold on. If I smooth out some of the spots around this is a perfect hobbit hole. I don't have any really good gear, but I think we got enough stuff that I can get myself going. Alright, let's pop down some stuff and turn this into my lovely little hobbit hole. Boop, boop. And then there's some other stuff I need to smelt, so... Boop. You know what? Yeah, fine. We'll place it like that. BRB. Alright, bye-bye. See you in a bit. We need to smelt... Did I smelt all of the... Where did the rotten... I guess I got rid of all the rotten flesh. Okay. I still have a fair amount of leather anyway, though. We need to throw these items in the correct spots, and these, and these. I don't know why I keep those. Like that. Boop. And we'll also throw obsidian. Those need to be... And... 1, 2, 3. 2 in there, 1 in there. The rest in here. Emerald up there. I haven't been using the bow at all, so let's just switch to that. I don't know if I'll really use it, if at all. If this is important. No. That was just my... Okay. That was just my own notification. I can't wait. What time is it in game? Almost time to sleep. Okay. Let's put down our bed. I'm actually... Hold on. I want to place some more furnaces. To smell all of this. And then we'll sleep. That's too much, but whatever. No, I'm out of food. Out of food. Out of food. Out of food. Yeah. Nope. There we go. I just want to sleep for the next day. And then we can update the mods, finally. And I don't have to deal with this stupid water. Go faster. Go faster. Please. I have enough water and I'm not thirsty from bad water. Please. Pretty please. Let me sleep. Come on. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, time to update mods. Alrighty. Finally. I'm on bubble tea. I have bubble tea. It's melted. I have a smoothie type. It is melted juice. Okay. Oh, apparently the RPG needs to be updated again. Okay. Where are these stupid mods? I want to get rid of them. I don't like them. Nope. Get rid of that. Terraform. Where's tough nails? No toughest nails. Goodbye. No, thank you. No. There's underground villages. I didn't test if that actually worked. Underground variant of the villages that are normally above ground. There's no guarantee that the villagers are still alive. When you get to the villages, cases aren't exactly the same. Okay. We'll have to see if there are actually any of those nearby. I do like the relics. We'll keep relics. Any other mods I'd like to get rid of? Is Friends and Foes what I think it is? Okay, yes. Friends and Foes is what's adding the mob vote mobs to my game. We'll keep healing campfires. I do like I feel like with Tough as Nails gone, I don't need healing campfires. Uh, Campsite structures. With all the other structures I have, I almost feel like that isn't necessary. Because we have a lot of mods that are already adding these. Yeah. Because we already have a lot of tents. We do have a better fishing mod. I haven't tested that out, so we'll have to do that at some point. Dungeons. Most of the other mods are fine. I don't think there's any real big other ones. There's simply houses. So there's houses about the server, or about the world as well. I think, yeah. Okay, so let me find a day counter. Day count. Day count. Customizable location, size, and color. That's what we need. Perfect. Anything description? Yeah, okay. I always need to check description and make sure, hey, can I actually add this to the mod pack? Okay, that's perfect. And now we're at only 204 rather than 207. I'm just gonna scroll popular. Is there anything else? I like for Tough as Nails. I like it, but I'm drinking water way too much. I just want the warm and cold mechanic is the thing. Because I do like, but that also I feel like is a bit too much. Honestly, I'm just trying to find a way that I can easily add survival mode mechanics to Skyrim to the mod pack. But I haven't found quite a good way to go about that. I don't know. I'm trying to look at some of these and see if there's anything that would be interesting to add. But I'm not really seeing anything immediately. I have it sorted by popularity. Mantle? What is mantle? It's just a code. It's a library. Okay. It's just a library. I kind of like the idea of framed blocks almost, but I feel like that isn't quite enough. Ooh. We have far sight, but it doesn't do. It's just lets you expand the chunks, which I don't really do. I don't have the computer to run that, so I want to switch far sight for distant horizons, which I feel will hit the range of like looking out and seeing Skyrim a lot better than just using Farsight. I will keep Farsight in because sometimes I will. I don't expand to 62 chunks often enough, so let's just do distant horizons. And I'll have to real quickly change that around so it works better for my computer. I think that's the only things I really want to change right now. I was literally playing Skyrim today. I want to add quests. I wish there was a good way for me to add quests. Dungeon now loading 2%. Dungeon exploration mod. Video is not available. Gallery. There's no gallery. I don't know what this mod's about. It's just a featured one. I want a cool way to add quests, but when you type in quests, it's the FTB quest, which I don't really want those. That's like I make it what I want. There's bounty board, but it doesn't have a version for the mod pack. I just want a bounty board, but I don't know enough in order to actually like transfer it over to a Forge version because we are using Forge. That's what some of my favorite mods are on, so that's why the mod pack is made with that. There's quest icons, custom quest icons. There was mini quests, which was interesting and I looked into, but it doesn't seem to work. Because FTB quest is like handmade. There's a mod called Night Quest, but that's like it's just a general adventuring mod. That's just the name. It's not actually a questing and giving you a quest. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. There was. Oh, stupid. Let me play my music. Thank you. Uh, thinking. Hmm. I had a thought and then I lost it. I don't know. There's something in my head and it's gone. Okay. Back into the game. And give it a moment to load up. How far are we into stream? Only 30 minutes. That's pretty good. Especially with me trying to burn through every day. Yeah, this is just juice. I have jellies in it, but it's not even juice. It's watered down because it was smoothie, so it's all like ice and everything too. I'm talking about my bubble tea, by the way. Eh. It's not as good after it's melted. Pop that down in the trash. There you go. Minecraft. Load, please. Load. Load. Load, please. Load. Minecraft? Thank you. There we go. 100 days. Get into this. I think I really need to get an Enderman farm going. We have the Ender. I got rid of most of them, but we still have an Enderman spawner. I could make an Enderman farm above ground with that. Chat covers where the day counter is, so let me move it to the right side. To this side. Or maybe I could just move chat to the right side. Hold on. Don't mind me, I'm just moving chat to the right instead of the left. Oh. And then browser sources from the right to the left. So we're just switching everything around. We just flipping which side of the screen they on. There we go. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And now what we're gonna do, because my computer's already mad about Distant Horizons, we're gonna change this down to a lovely 32 instead of the ridiculous thing it wanted to do. And then low and minimal impact. No distant generation. Hi, nerdy. Thank you for lurking. Cloud rendering, no. Yeah, we'll keep it. And then render distance. I'm gonna turn it down to 6. I think I need to load in those chunks for it to realize. Oh, it's using the normal fog. Hold on, let me advanced options, graphics, fog, off. Or wait, enable fog, fog. Distant Horizons fog through, but not the. Why is it showing me vanilla fog then? Because that's absolute. What? Give me those. Okay, my computer's slowly calming down. Distant Horizons, please. Do I have Bobby? I didn't think I had Bobby mod. Do I have Bobby mod? Since when did I add Bobby mod? Hmm. Hmm. When did I add Bobby? When? That's the only thing I could think of for why it would do that thing. B-O-B-O-B-O-B-O. There isn't Bobby. Let me search, double check. There is not Bobby. So why is it doing that? Is it just confused? Because I haven't loaded in those trunks, but technically I have. Let's try this out. Let's test this out. I don't think I'm supposed to see all that. Okay, so Phantom's broken with Distant Horizons, apparently. Because I'm not supposed to see all that. I'm not supposed to see that. It doesn't know what to do. So Distant Horizons breaks that. And found a little tent. I want to run over and load in these trunks. Yeah, I'm not supposed to see that. I'm not supposed to see all that. I'm not upset about it, but I'm not supposed to be able to see that. There's something down there, but I'm gonna probably need to get my... It's just a companion, okay. I need to go back to base. Okay, there we go. Now it's working a little bit better. I just have to load in the chunks, I think. Because I'm... Oh. If I'm crouching down, it fixes itself, but only for a moment. Only for a moment. I think the game, Distant Horizons, is convinced if I'm in the ground, I'm supposed to be, therefore I'm in spectator. Which I should be able to see everything. Breaking my legs doing this. And my computer. Thankfully it's not showing me absolutely everything, but it's showing me a bit more than it should. Yeah, I know. I know, I'm low on hunger. I'm a little too fast for my liking. There we go. Food. Food. And then back into Phantom mode. Okay. Give me that. And give me that. Okay, food situation handled. Boop, boop. And then throw all of this into that. Let's make the looty bag blue, because that's what I usually do. I can actually differentiate. Okay, no, that didn't change anything. Yeah, this is the fog. Horizons fog off, on. World fog. Sky color? Why? That's not how it's supposed to look. Especially if I just loaded in those chunks for Distant Horizons. Do I need to move that up to 8? No. It's still broken. If I change you to 64, does something change? Yes, it does. Now it works. Why wasn't it working at 32 then? Oh. Why wasn't it working at 32? And I set it to like 40? And now it works. And set it to 32. I guess it works now. That's fine, okay. Let's set it to medium, maybe. No, my computer's already upset. Yeah, okay, this is why we keep it at 2. Honestly, this is how my Skyrim looks. This is just how my Skyrim looks. I genuinely play Skyrim like this. But it's trying to load and stuff over there, so I guess let's go explore over there. Oh, right. House. Admittedly, my computer's already upset at me again, so I'm gonna be a weirdo. We're setting this down to like 4. Wait. No, my least quality is fast. Let's change entity distance as well. You know what? Let's turn off animations. That'd actually help it a lot, probably. That'd probably help quite a bit. Because I am surrounded by water, and there's a lot of flowing water underneath because of the lush caves. Particles. I really just care about a few of them. But this is a lot to go through, so I'll deal with that later. I imagine that'll make my computer at least a little bit happy. What if I set it to 1? What is the minimum? Yeah, that's why I don't want it at 1. This is why we choose 2. There we go. Beautiful. And with what little I have, let's give myself a little hobbit hole going. Something quaint and cute for the moment. I'll make it better later. I'm gonna try and use some of the natural terraforming here and just do this. Round it out. Is it still broken? Yes. Yes, it is. I don't mind too much. It's not... How much so is it broken? It seems to be only broken in what's closest to me. Which I think is a decent trade. You know what I should have done? I should have never cooked the steak. If I just took 5 of my iron, I could have made like 26 hamburgers. Well. Oh well. We can deal. I want to move down to this level. And then probably to the spot. Beautiful. Nope. I just want a little hobbit hole real quick. That's a body. I'm thinking just do... kind of like the... I don't know enough about the series. The main character in Lord of the Rings, his house at the beginning. I just kind of want to make a little thing like that. Can I pick up and move you? No, I have to break it. Ooh, that's actually quite a few fair logs. I'll keep that. Thank you. If we run that through a stone cutter, I can get a lot more out of it. I don't have one of those yet, but that's pretty easy enough to craft. 1, 2, 3. Boop. Boop. And boop. Boop. Oh, not yet. I'm forgetting I need to do that on the crafting bench, not there. And then I can use oak for the floor. I'm pretty sure I get 6, so we'll have 42. I'll just make a quick 7x6 room. And that'll be enough to get us started for a little while. I'm getting low on food. I love having the day counter up there too. It just makes this way easier. And then I don't have to add it in editing. Also seems way bigger on my screen, but that's actually pretty neat. It's just a little guy. This little guy. I'm just hanging out. I don't know if this is gonna be a permanent base or if I'm just gonna I could probably low-key live out of just a tiny little spot for this entire playthrough. Oh, why is Weird's moving? Yep. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Weird's moving. I originally wanted Lithosphere for this moving mod because I love the way it makes terraforming look. But it just makes the biomes way, way too large. And then the terraforming is way too flat. And it just doesn't look good in the end, and it's not really all too fun to play with. Like, yeah, we get these absolutely amazing, fantastic mountains. But it's only mountains. You're kind of stuck with whatever biome you spawn in, you get nothing else. I want more than that. Like, it takes hundreds, like, you could get more spawns from that particular biome, yeah. But it's hundreds, thousands of blocks with only one biome. I've dealt with that before. It's not fun. Especially if you have my luck, and you spawn in a snowy biome, and you have nothing but snow. It's just downright horrible. And oop. Oop, oop, oop. And then these over here. Oop, oop. And these right here. Beautiful. Now we have a little cliffside for our hobbit hole. And I should have... I don't have spruce wood, so we'll chop down some trees nearby then. Stone cutter. Place. There we go. And that'll give me 6 planks, so yeah, the 42. And make this the little entrance. Change you to dirt, but don't worry about this as much. It's not gonna be a straight room. Not that much already. Can I get away with removing that? Yeah. Yes I can. Yes I can. There we go. And if I place a dirt block there, then we can actually get away with it. You know what I should do? I always forget I have these. We have hammers. Let me make a hammer. This is gonna save me so much. I don't have. Boop, boop, boop. Hammer. Mine's a 3x3 area. Now I can just do this. It's so much better. It's so much faster. Let me actually change it so I'm mining it like this instead, maybe? OT. Of course. In the damn sun. Okay. Boop. Boop. Let's see how much I get from this, and then go from here. Or how much of this I use. Are you going to stream this tomorrow? I'm going to stream some variety games tomorrow. I'm planning on streaming Doroko Wonko. D-R-O-R-N-K-O? D-O-R-O-K-O, I think. W-A-N-K. It's a free game on Steam. And then another one I have called Broken Age. So tomorrow is a variety day. And then we'll pick this back up somewhere. I'm thinking I might stream PSMP during the week, Monday to Friday, if I have time those days. I don't know if I'll have time Monday. I might take Monday off. But I'm thinking I might stream it throughout the week and then come back to this on weekends. And I don't need no bones. I need just a wee bit of spruce wood. This tree is what I want to get to. You're dark oak. You're not spruce. Bye-bye. Bye, Billy Bob. And it's broken again. I didn't even realize it. Why does it insist on breaking itself? There we go. Okay, spruce wood. Little bit of spruce over here. We'll do that. This should be enough for what I want to do. Also, I love having this. This makes it look so much cooler. This makes it look so much cooler. I'm not entirely sure. That might... What I'm thinking is happening. Maybe that's correct. I haven't loaded that in yet. So I have no idea if it's just randomly generating chunks that I think it will be or not. Granted, we just got rid of the brain smoothing mod, so maybe that's correct. I don't know. I need some of those. 2 of those. Actually, I do just need 3 trapdoors. And then I will craft a door. Nope. You stupid thing. There we go. Admittedly, having this Horizons is a little laggy, but I really adore the look that having it. And I might have to go... What? I just want to only... You suck. Okay, I will deal with that in a moment. I need more of those first. I need 3 sets more. I need 1 more above. Like that. And then 1 right there. Okay. And that only opens that? Yeah, okay. I think I'm gonna make it in line with everything else. Beautiful. And then I want to try and get a little window. 1 over here and then 1 up here. Go with something like this. Yeah, perfect. A little corner spot. Yeah, okay. Maybe if I do that... something like that. And then this... I put it right there. And then on this side, do something similar, but right here. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, okay, okay. And that means I need 2 more sets of stairs. And let's go with 4 more. It's probably way too much, but... Because I've done this at an angle for these. Huh. Oh, because yeah, that would be why. I didn't do this for this one. I need to stand in water in order to place this. There we go. Okay. Maybe I'll just put it on. I'm thinking doing something like that, and then I can do glass underneath. Or like glass along these two spots, so I'll get 24 glass blocks total if I continue the exact same pattern on this side. Nope, not that. And then one up and over right here. Boop, boop, bonk. One block there. And I need that. Right, I need to place this one last. Because of the BS. Yeah. I feel like this would make more sense if I didn't. And I need to eat more food. Yeah, definitely overcrafted, but it's fine. No! Is it like this? I might get rid of double doors. It's cool, but it's not helpful. And do that. There we go. And then I just need 12 glass. I am up way higher than I thought. Glass, sand, sand, sand. And this is all dirt. Sand. I finally don't have to be in the stupid phantom mode. That's one window, two... Wait, where? Oh, I picked it up, okay. And 3. Beautiful. Yep, that ain't right. That ain't right. That is silly. Okay, that's kind of funny to look at, though. That's kind of goofy. I like it. it's just so it's just so silly. Okay, let's move all of this stuff in. Let me actually trade out my bed for... Or, I do kind of still need a bed then. Because I was thinking for a minute, oh, I could do a sleeping bag instead. Because a sleeping bag is a modded thing I have where it doesn't reset spawn point. But I kind of would like to be able to set my bed down. So I'm almost tempted to do like a fake bed or something here. Oh, nope, not there. And we'll just do like a fake thing here. And... Kinda don't really need a home base. I live mostly a monk life. Absolutely everything and all my possessions on me when I play this mod pack. I don't really need to, but I do like the idea of having a home base like this. I'm gonna do some more stairs. I think 6 will be exactly what I want. Put some right there and some right there. Boop, boop, boop. And then we have one window right there. It's just a cute little hobbit window. I have had my arms down on the desk so long it kind of hurts to put my arms up and stretch. I should actually... I don't have a lot of as much time as I would like to play today, so I kind of need to sleep as much as possible. And try and get through the days. I would love, if possible, to try and make it to 20. That is the current goal. I'm at level 15. Hold on, we need to use these. Upgrade damage again. This damage is real important. I think I need to go cut down some trees, and then we'll throw the wood through the stone cutter and make a bunch of barrels as my storage. If I cut one or two of these down, it should be more than enough. Because the barrels will be the correct color I want, and then I can organize them with... It's not like a lot of storage, but I can organize... If I run out of storage in a barrel, I can just use my backpacks instead. Like, backpack in the barrel. And I can directly make barrels. Wonderful. Let's go with... I'm thinking do something like this. Maybe something like that. And then I'll do 5 more then. 5. There we go. That should be more than enough to work with. And then I can just do a little nook back here for my bed. And there goes my axe. Pickaxe. Let's just go with diamond tools. I need to upgrade anyway. And boop, boop. Upgrade to diamond pick and a diamond axe. And we don't care about you. I do need more oak for this area too. That's another problem. I do have oak in my inventory. Hold on. In my backpack. We'll use that. I can make... There we go. Make the wool for another bed. And where is a red flower? Come on. I must have a red bed. You do not understand the requirements. It must be a red bed. That is just the best bed. The yellow flower. We don't want the yellow flower. We want a red flower, red bed. Red bed. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on stream. I hear my computer going. I don't know if it's picking up on mic at all. Ooh, with the swamp. Oh, wait. Would the swamp have red flowers? Probably, right? That sounds right. Please. And boop boop. Pretty please. I just want a red flower. I want to make my house real quick. And then carry on exploring. I need to get a waystone in there too. Come on. You tell me there's no poppies in here? There's no poppies. You suck. Why is there a singular? Okay. That is the smallest Tega biome I ever did see. There's a witch over there. There's Can I make red dye from raspberries? Red. Type red. Red dye, beetroot, tulip. That's it. And you can see where things changed. Okay, so yeah. I should have expected that, honestly. Oh, nope. I did it again. I did it again. Because over here have red flowers. I probably should have put a waystone down before I went running off like this. Come on. I just need a red flower. Red. You're orange and white. But no red. Come on. Please. Red, 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 red. Oh, my computer's really not happy with me doing this. Oh, it really ain't happy. Let's go back then. Let's go back. I don't think it'd be any happier if whether or not I had Distant Horizons going. Honestly. I don't think it'd be happy either way. It's probably like a There's probably like acacia up there. I think I need to lower my chair. Because my arms are just like hanging. There we go. I actually like need my shoulders to be arched a little bit. Because they're just sore and hanging out. And it's not fun. Also, I still don't know why I'm this fast in water. But I'm not this fast on land. So why am I that fast on water? I'm kinda still fast. But not nearly the same amount. Too bad I went to the stronghold so soon. Probably should have waited until I hit day 10 so I could get rid of the mod. Where's my... Oh, I went to the wrong mountain. That'll do it. And there goes my legs. Oh, my leg! Okay. I just heard a noise and I assumed it was my cat. It was not my cat. He's just hanging out. I don't know. There's my house. Oh. Okay, red bed. Red bed. Red bed. And I have the materials too, so let's make it a little cute. I'm thinking... Let's just... Little arch. Oh, right, that's the last one after this. Yeah. And then that. Beautiful, lovely. Nope. And... I could always put more, like, 3 more barrels back there. 1, 2, 3. 3. There we go. Oop, oop, oop. And... Kinda... Actually, let's change. I have an idea. No. We're gonna make 2 more stairs as well, and 4... wait. How many does that gonna make? Okay. 2 to that. I'm thinking... Make it look kind of a bit like a built-in 4-poster. I need to do these ones first. And I need to change the way these are oriented for 1. And I need 2 more of them. There we go. That's a cutie little bed. That's adorable. I love it. And we're gonna throw the last one of these into sticks. And I'll keep the medium backpack and small backpack as big. are... rock copper still needs to be smelt. I almost want to change those to smelters, but I kind of like having this little spot. Because I don't imagine I'll be coming back here a lot to specifically smelt things. The one furnace is more aesthetical than anything. Let's make this the designated area for blocks. Put woods in here, maybe cobble blocks in here. I want to leave some behind in my bag for like easy takens. I want to have most things. I'll keep gunpowder on me. And I'll keep a stack on me. I don't want to lose a bunch of it. And let's throw it in. And then maybe mob blue in there, nature stuff back here. And miscellaneous in this one. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. Actually, good idea. Hold on. Idea. The special stuff, I'll keep some of these totems on me. But special stuff like totems will go in here. These relics and stuff will go in this one. And then this one will be like, probably loot. Let me unmemorize that. And unmemorize the helmet as well. And then memorize those. Yes. And that one's also wood. And we'll probably organize this a lot more as we go on. Since we have a moment. Yeah, let's craft all these into blocks. Diamonds I'm going to keep as not blocks, because I'm probably going to be making myself a lot of diamond stuff very soon on. Or very quickly here. When did I get 3 apples? I'm going to throw it in with the nature. And probably the most important is actually making torches for the stupid house. Yeah, I can get away with that. So, torch. Move this spot. I kinda don't even like it here in the first place. To move it to a spot for it. Let's do that. There we go. And then boom. Beautiful. And it's a cute little cozy home, but it's a cozy home. And it's definitely a start. And it's nighttime. How much? I sat through a fair amount of the night. Jeez. Sip it of water. Actually, if my computer's so mad at me, let me turn on. There it goes. Okay. My cat's eating food. Good food. You know what? While I'm here, pants are the only thing I haven't made diamond yet. I'd much rather have full diamond. Oop. And then I don't need this. I can just make myself a new diamond helmet when this one eventually breaks. Where do I put my waystone? Is the question. I don't really have... Is this the most middle point? No. This is the best spot, though. I'm gonna move these up one. I like them down, but I'll move them up one. Okay. Homna. You know what? It's Homna now. Okay. Let's go back to the dungeon. I really enjoy this place. There was like a whole underground section I hadn't really gone through. We made it to this nether area, and then I started running low on food, so I had to go. Here's a waystone down there, maybe? Can I steal that? No, there's nothing there. Okay. Why is nothing spawning? Fun. Pretty please. Oh. There we go. The best XP farm. Now I gotta go really far for XP farms, though. Or make one in the nether. Because it used to be my old strategy to... Golden carrots are good stuff, actually. Nope. Words. I would like them. I think my music's a little too loud, I can't think. Because it used to be my strategy that... Nope. There we go. It used to be my strategy to get about 1,000, 2,000 out to a skeleton or zombie dungeon. Nowadays, I usually do zombie dungeons. Because the higher the level is, the more XP they give me. Oh dear. Well, I kind of do need to attack the Enderman anyway. Nope. I can't attack them fast enough. Eh. Oop. Haha. Nope. Oh, is that an Enderman? That is an Enderman spawner. Okay, so we have another one. Because I think there's only 2 or 3 that I haven't destroyed. And it only has knockback. This room. Nah. I kind of just want to go for the dragon, but I know that's way out of my league. Because the thing will have like 600 health because the mods I have. I will take care of that. I need brain to work good. Too many things to do. I'm having more fun just exploring what I can do rather than having to do the things I need to do. Dungeon not so fun anymore, so try new thing, yes? Maybe? What can go? Underground village. Haven't seen those. I know that. I know this. Village. Fortified village, desert village, another outcast, piglin, underground. Search. Okay, that's way farther than I want you to be. Did you not spawn? Did you not spawn a single underground village? Oh my god, it didn't spawn one. Are you gonna be 9,000? Over 9,000. Unironically, over 9,000. No, it's not found. If it can't find within a 10,000 radius, it's not gonna bother. Okay. We haven't actually been to a village yet. But those are boring. Those are boring. There's nothing for me to do. I think honestly, we just go north. Or, not north. I've been north. Let's go south. Let me get up to the point I have over here. Boop. Dungeon. And go back to home, Nick. And we're just gonna go south. We're just gonna explore. Or what? I haven't been wet. Is where I haven't been. Boop. Breaking my leg. That's for normal. Yeah, now that I'm not dealing with the thirst, suddenly I am a-okay. And I'm not stopping every 10 seconds to drink 5 gallons of water. I definitely think being a phantom, it was also draining. Lovely. It was also draining my thirst as well as my hunger. Why is there a pillager over here? Why are you out here, bro? Is this like a little pillager camp? Yeah, yeah, goodbye. I think it probably is. Yeah, it's a little pillager camp. Hello? Oh, there you are. Come over here. Boop, 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 boop. I think I maybe should make that sleeping bag anyway. So I have the option to whether or not to set my spawn point. Sleeping bag like so, and then red dye, red sleeping bag. And let's put that here. And memorize that. There we go. Lovely. What are you? Oh, you're a witch's hut. Okay. And then we're in jungles now. Now the world's spawning incorrectly. That's actually okay. That's cool. It's not quite rendering incorrectly anymore. Maybe I gotta turn that off. Yeah. I love Distant Horizons, but it don't rend well when I'm streaming. It really doesn't. My computer already doesn't like me running this at all. There's a waste gun down there. This is so cheaty, I know. I don't know why it is still working. I turned it off. I think Distant Horizons just broke. The Phantom? That's a glow squid down there. Yeah, it really just broke this. Yep. it's just breaking. Nope. I'm in. I would like this anvil. That'd be cool. You never know when you need one. Don't need the rest of that. I can tell you that for certain. Let's switch. Actually, let's just, instead of moving all of this, let's just switch the coal around. Oh, there we go. Me up! Thank you. And then this was the other one. To detonate. I don't know. I don't know how to use like half the mods I have. I love the idea of adding magic to this, but the problem is the way I use magic is magical weapons. That is how I play with magic. I play with magical weapons and magical friends. AKA summoning the most abysmally strong creatures I possibly can. Yep, it's still, yep. I'm not supposed to see any of this. But I can. And now I can't, and then I can. I don't know. Oh, there's cows above me. And there's an entire cave system below me. Okay, that genuinely... Okay, hold on. I want to see this, because it does look cool. Well, this looks cool. I want to check it out. Ooh, boy. Hey, yo! I love caves. Oh, I love the caves and cliffs. It is gorgeous. There a mic here? No. Oh, wait. I do want leather. I would like leather. You got nothing. Okay, not as interesting anymore. What? Oh, hello. I mean, this is so glitchy, and I'm definitely gonna have to get rid of it just because this should not occur at all. But for the sake of me exploring things, this is very useful. Because I'm actually seeing things I would have no clue. Because I was about to leave. I would have had no clue any of this existed. My computer is still screaming. Oh, hi. Oh, it's time to sleep. Time to sleep. So I think we can actually make it to that day 20. Because I only made it to 7 yesterday. My goal today was just, I gotta make it to 20. I need to make at least like a good 10 days progress each episode. Or episode, stream. Each stream. And then hopefully I can turn this all into one. Oh! You're actually... You're actually Lou! I didn't even realize! This is why being a phantom is so cool! Ooh, Wither Rose. I love the claws. They will always be my favorite weapon. Hands down, 100% of the time. Ooh. Your thing. Devour. I don't know what. Oh, hi. Yoink. Actually, this would be useful. Deep Slate Dungeon. I'm like, no, it's not Deep Dark. It's not the Deep Dark. I do actually want string, though. I am low on string. Because I can use string to make wool. I don't need as much string as I do wool, but string makes. Power. I kind of want to grab the Devour book. Uses. It can go on anything. So I assume I can put it on my claws. Let me get into this one, so I can safely be here. Devour. What does that do? I can't tell. I don't know what it does. I can't even tell if it does more damage. Like, I don't know what it does. True Edge. What is True Edge? Well, I'm doing 16 damage, but that's because of my damage stat that I'm upgrading. I don't know. I don't know what any of this does. Can't upgrade that anymore. Attack speed, yes. All the attack speed, please. I'm about to walk off into that cave. I'm running a little too fast around here. Oh, that's the creeper. I'm like, there's a creeper nearby, but where is he? Diamonds! True Edge 2. I'll take that over True Edge 1, apparently. It goes on weapons. It can go on my claw. So we're gonna add it on my claw, I guess. I don't have the experience. Okay, hit down some more mobs. Oh, nope, not that one. Where do I... This way. Anything this way for me? Ludi, I'll take golden apples. Yes, 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 yes. Golden apples. Yes, yes, yes. Another crypt. Diamond. No diamond. You, no diamond. You, XP. Yes, please. I almost want to just go out as far as possible. I miss it being challenging. This feels too easy now. I'm so used to, like, the difficulty spike. This just feels way too easy. It's almost upsetting. I'm like, I wanna fight! I almost want to go to the Nether. Just so I can have a difficulty spike. Granted, level 50 would be horrible. But it'd be interesting. I understand why people play Skyrim Legendary naked playthroughs now. I understand it. I never got it, and I literally was commenting on this to somebody a few hours ago. I understand it now. I really do. Because this is too easy. I'm just running around doing whatever the hell I want. Granted, being a phantom is just easy in general, but I far prefer it over anything else. It's by far my favorite origin. Oh, it's not even memorized? There we go. Memorized. Oh, there's another one. Right? Yep. And it's not even a mimic. Ooh. Oh my god, diamonds. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Oop, oop, oop. It's too easy. I don't even need the claws. With a few more XP, I could just be one-punching everything around me. Mimic, mimic, mimic. Mimic. Hey, buddy. Nope, that's not my word. There we go. Cloud in a bottle. Oh, wait, and it's not the part. It's just a double jump. Okay. I thought for a sec it was the whoopee cushion. It is not a whoopee cushion. We're gonna turn all of this into wool. There we go. I actually like being able to make as many backpacks as possible. Is that... Yes, that is you. I'm like, I know what that is. Where is it? Too far. We don't care, though. I don't want that music disc. You? Piercing efficiency. No one cares. I don't care about any of this stuff. I'm just trying to get myself to 9 experience points. That's it. And apparently I'm trying to burn through my carrots, too. But I'm always in phantom mode, so I'm gonna burn through food no matter what. Ooh, maybe I should go for my ratatouille. I could make an expansion to... Honestly, if I have the glitch, I'm gonna use it. Honestly. There's nothing in there for me. I just want to see structures, though. I just want to loot structures. I want to go and do things. Yeah, like this. Hi, guys. There's a baby child. Let me attack the baby. Let me attack you. Actually, I do want the soul first. There's a mimic nearby. Where's the mimic? You are a mimic. Good day. Looting to enemies. Yes, please. I don't trade with villagers. Not in these runs, anyway. That'd be very useful in Passion SMP, but not here. How far out? Oh, that's why. That's why my computer's upset. Because things are about to start leveling. That's why. How far out? Is it nighttime? Oh, it's nighttime. Hold on. I should have slept like a minute ago. Let me actually reload chunks. That'll make my computer very happy. Another diamond picked up here. You can only sleep at night or during thunderstorms. What time? It's almost time to sleep. That's why. Yeah. I'll eat. I'm just waiting till I accidentally find the deep dark. It's bound to happen. But now I have like the highest chance of spotting it. No, that's... How low are we? What's my level? 51, not bad. Almost as low as I can go. Wait, far out? Yeah, we should get things leveling up. I should be getting some good XP finally. I'm trying to get above ground now. That way I can maybe not be so cheaty about this. Wait. We can test out... Oh dear. Okay, if I'm struggling to open chests, I might need a relog. I think it's crashing. Oh, there it goes. Give my computer a minute to chill out and not be so upset with me. I'm surprised how much I managed to get done in 2 hours. I'm been at 15 days for a minute though. Well, we're not even at 2 hours yet. We're at 140. Where am I? Where? I ran a little bit over here because Mimic, I guess. I'm in a different spot that... What was that accent? I'm in a different spot than I thought I was. What level are you guys? You're still level 0? That sucks. You suck. And you got cool banners though. That's not what I wanted. Actually, how far out am I? I'm over 1,000 snorkel, breathe underwater. Yes. I will happily switch that out. Breathe underwater is a very good trade-off. Or just some extra looting, which I'm gonna get from my luck stat anyway. Oh, I have 9 levels finally. True Edge. Don't know what it does. I have it. That's an iron vein. Yeah, you're a level 1 Skelly. I don't know what's changed. Everything's still too easy. Structure over there. Oh, this one has cake. Cake. In a minute. Increases the wearer's mining speed and base... Oh, it's mining speed. You know what? Yeah, I'll still take it. Hands. Thank you. Turn off. I forgot I had the piston. The pocket piston. Okay, I am now going towards and not away from where I want to be heading, so let's get farther from spawn. There's a camp. Ooh. I'm on and off saying things. There we go. There's a campfire over there. Yeah. Hi, buddy. Yeah, they don't stand a chance, unfortunately. I mean, I'll take the string. Boop. More diamonds. Diamond. Okay. And I'm gonna go above ground for real this time. Can I please? Oh wait, it's nighttime. It's nighttime. Bed is... Oh, suck. Yay! Finally get to day 6. I will get to 20. I am doing my best to get to 20. I don't care. Does it show me that there's a mimic there? I'm not going towards the campfire. Probably the one I just left anyway. My problem is I look at the compass above and I'm like, ooh, shiny. And I go towards whatever mob I see. And I look over, ooh, shiny. Ooh, shiny. Ooh, wait, there's a lot of... Is that... What is that? I know those are probably player... What? Player base camps. Why is there a campfire here, though? Oh, it's a... It's a tent that didn't spawn in right, that's why. We run and 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 run. I'm somewhere now. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I haven't even seen a cow be more than like level. I haven't seen anything more than a level 2. And that's sad. I'm used to seeing level 14s by now. I might go in and change the config. Because this is just sad. Like, this entire... I have built this mod pack around the Ascendant mobs being difficult. Why? Well, that's one way to force load. Hey, village! Minecraft guy? Cool. Oh, I got a book. I will keep this because I have regret throwing away books in the past. Well, I guess village. There's a rascal down below. Hold on, there's a rascal. There's a buddy down here. Hi, buddy. I still don't know how you work, but you're cute. You're cool. If I remembered to actually vote for any of the mom votes, I probably would have voted for him. I do care about the bottle. I should probably get my hands on an XP farm. That's probably the best call, honestly. Because a lot of my stats depend on XP. There are dungeons in the Nether, so maybe I should just try and set up like a Strider farm or... Because there... I don't remember all the dungeons that can spawn in the Nether, but I'm pretty sure the passive mobs. Passive mobs are one of the #1 ways to get a lot of easy experience in this mod pack. You can go extremely far out and just attack cows and still level up very well. It is absolutely one of the best ways to level up anything in this. So I'm thinking we hit the Nether and go for some Striders. Is that just feels the correct answer? There's horses. Oh right, the copper boys. Let me save you. There you go. There you go. Go push some buttons. Go ring that bell. Okay, don't then. Push the button. Push the button. Do these also have to be? Nope, they're just copper. Can I make a copper golem? What? Can I? There we go. Copper golem. Yeah. Off you go. Gold reach. Fantastic. I love it. Y'all are just cute. Oh, there we go. Now it's fixed. There we go. Press the button. You guys are just cute. That's adorable. I love it. I don't even know if we'll keep Minecraft Comes Alive. I just thought it fits better, because this is, again, still trying to aim for like a Skyrim feeling playthrough. I feel like Minecraft Comes Alive fits that, and you can't actually like settle down and marry. That isn't something I'm interested in doing in this playthrough. We could, but it's not something I'm necessarily I care about. But as we can do it, I guess. And boop. Whoa, that was laggy. Oh, you know it's bad when I'm lagging like it's Bedrock. That's lovely. That's great. Let's run over to the Waystone. I want to go... How much? I don't think I have enough obsidian to make my own portal, but I can most certainly go to the stronghold and light up that, and then try and find a small dungeon nearby. Mauler? Mauler growls? What's a mauler? Ew! I don't know what you do, but you're very cute. I wanna pick you up. You are adorable, dude. I have no idea what he does. He just looks cute. He's just adorable. Okay, yeah. Let's go. I didn't think I'd go to the Nether this early, but honestly, I feel like that's the call right now. Because the overworld is way too easy. I think this is the spot where I place my bed down instead of spawn point. And we no longer need the sleeper bag. So let me put away my diamonds. Let's see what this has in store for us. There we go. Apparently I can't be in phantom mode. What does it have in store? And will I spawn in another fortress again? Or will I see another fortress within my spawn? Incendium, we need to go deeper. Exactly where I wanted to be. This is the exact spot. What are the chances that I spawn exactly where I want to be? Okay, we're gonna make a farm. We're making a Strider farm. They're level 20. We're making a Strider farm. If they're level... We're 1,000 out. If they're level 20, does that mean the dragon would only be level 50? No. I need to find out now, because I genuinely don't know. What? Okay. Okay. How I'm thinking we'll make this, because you don't find Strider farms in your average Minecraft world. I'm thinking we go with a lava. Like, do a normal spawner except with lava instead of water. We need four. That needs to do out more. I may not like automation, but I know how to make my spawner. And that's 4 out that way, yes. I'm trying to think. Striders don't drop anything. We don't have to worry about that. I think if I literally do this... How tall are your hitbox? You're almost 2 blocks tall. You're like a block and 3/4. Okay. So if I put a slab there, you're not gonna be able to get through, right? Yeah, you're not gonna be able to do that. Yeah, because you're standing on a full block right now. Okay. Ah. Move that way. Thank you. Move that way. Move that way. Thank you. Okay, so if I do that, we should be A-okay. Let's do that, actually, maybe. And the noise of that portal is gonna very quickly annoy me. Okay. And then let's dig this up. And try and be at least a little bit careful about it. And then Striders will drop down, and we have ourselves a little farm. I just need to get the lava for it. Boop, boop, boop. The striders make such weird sounds. They sound like a mix between a frog and a cat. It's so weird to me. Crap. Maybe... Let's actually change just a little bit. So it's more like... that? Wait. Yes. Yes, yeah. I know how my liquids expand. I know how Minecraft physics. Minecraft liquid physics. Yes. That should be perfect. And then I can hit them from right here where they're bobbing up and down in the lava. And then we come up here. 1, 2, 3. Or actually, what would be even better if I come up here and we plan to put the spawner right here and I dig up 3 more. 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. And then it's the corner. Boop, boop. Perfect. Not so perfect. Pick the hole. Oh. And then... Oh! No. No pomegranate. I just want my strider farm. I need the XP. Let me have my morally questionable farm in peace. Place the block. And boop. There we go. Lovely. Fix that hole in my wall. And then grab the farm. The one thing is it won't be constantly spawning striders as far as I'm aware. That is the one downside with this. Is it's not a consistent constant farm because it's not a hostile mob. Yes, that is by far the best XP we've gotten so far. Oh, they do drop string. Okay. Oh. No, this will be great. Okay. Perfect. Let's try and get me some... Oh, I already forgot. I've already forgotten what and who I am. Well, this is broken. This is far more broken than it should be. Can I just come and grab some lava? I just need this. Place here. And theoretically... No, it doesn't. Oh, I didn't. Barely didn't expand it out enough. I don't know how my liquids flow. And this should burn the zombified piglin as well. Because there was one... Yeah, there is one guy that has spawned. There we go. Okay. Now... we should be okay. Yep. It didn't quite go. I hate how adorable their faces are when they get attacked. They're just cute, even when I'm killing them for XP. They're just adorable. Attack speed, knockback, there we go. And let's change this to be like that. There we go. And now they come to me. Except for the fact that they don't. Also, I've never seen a zombie piglin spawn on one. That's cool. There we go. Yeah, this is spawning a lot. Way more than I thought it would. Maybe I should do this instead. Because doing this seems a lot better than what I'm... Oh, I'm clicking wrong buttons. Doing this seems better than what I was doing before. I hate that this is actually a really good XP farm. This is probably the best idea I've had so far, and I hate that it's good. This is crazy. This is crazy. Also, you literally can't do water for this because the striders burn in water. Oh no, you don't burn in lava. Never mind. Okay, so we might actually go through some of the bosses a lot sooner. I'm thinking maybe Ender Dragon day 50 then? And we'll hit, hopefully, Obsidiolith, depending on how bad the Ender Dragon is. I think we prep for it with an Ender chest. We'll see if it's good, and if I could actually take it on at day 50. If I can't, then I will have, like, nothing in my inventory. Everything will be in my Ender chest. I'll have nothing but, like, one Ender chest on it. And if it is good to go, then we fight it then. If it's not, I just jump into the void and go back home. And we'll keep prepping. You guys take forever. You guys take forever. Actually, wait. If I did this even, I think would be best. Because now they just come to this little area. Oh, wait. They can't jump multiple blocks. They can't jump more than a block high. So this configuration would be best. There we go. Yeah, this is perfect. Okay. Very quickly figuring out the logistics of a Strider farm. I'm here. This is so goofy. Where's my button? That's not my button. Nope. Nope. I don't know. I just want. There we go. That's the button. It's so goofy. It's so goofy. Come on, let me get a good cinematic of those. Come here. Just come here. Come here. No. Come here. You're just... You won't leave that spot. I'm breaking blocks that I don't need to be breaking. I don't have any way to prevent them from doing that. Come here. I think I literally just need to expand the platform by 1. And fix this little gap. So I can actually reach the ones that get stuck right there. I'm already at level 30, jeez. I think I need to upgrade speed. The stats mod forces me to upgrade everything together. So I have to do that. Okay, you two are just stuck. Let's face it, you're stuck. There we go. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. If it does, then I need to figure out what's wrong and how to fix that. Can I upgrade this now? No, maybe I need to upgrade luck. Or maybe it's attack speed I'm missing. Attack speed? Yeah, that's what else. Okay. Dude, get over here. Hi. Get over here. Get over here. Get your little butt over here. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah! I think I just need to wait for them to gather down here, otherwise they try to get away. And that's how they get stuck up there, because I'm hitting them too soon. I need them to be stuck down here first. Although I could technically fix that. By making it a drop-off instead. And doing this for a second, I can see what blocks I've accidentally broken along the way. Let's go back to what I was doing before. No. Because then that would actually stop the flow, and I do need the lava to flow, I just need them to also drop off so they can't easily get back up. Yeah, this is what I want. Because it's going to be so much harder for them to try and get back up. It's going to be a lot easier for them to come down here and get stuck down here. Oop. Okay, what am I not upgrading? It's my health. I'm missing my health. Oop, oop. Yeah, they definitely will try and get stuck up there if they can. But that one actually fell back down. So I think this is actually a really good way to do it. Okay, that's great. Come on! Come on. Come on. Get your little hitbox in range. Thank you. Okay, this is actually great. Oh, because I'm in the nether, it doesn't track days, though. So I will have to leave every so many minutes. What day is it now? I no longer have... Why is the day counter not working? Day? Day count. Save and exit. Maybe. Maybe. 100 days? Maybe. Count. Why is my count gone? Where is the count? There is the count. Where's my count? Why is it gone? Why is the rum gone? We're on 16 still. Can I sleep? No? So problem time. Oh. I'll take any XP I can. And time doesn't pass when I'm in the nether, seemingly. No, it still does. I feel like I'm gonna have to keep my compass up while I'm at this farm. I don't like having the compass on. I feel like it shows me too much of what's going on around me. I'd much rather have the compass at the top. Yeah, that's an instant ban. Goodbye. Oh, that was a timeout. Never mind. Where's the ban button? Let me... Hold on. Let's let a bunch of boys spawn up while I look for the ban button. Where's the ban? Where's the ban? Can't. Modlocks. Knowledge. I want... It's not gonna show me? Moderator messages. Okay. Let me just copy and paste the username instead. Slash ban. And there we go. We're gonna keep the compass up for a moment so I can actually see when I need to go back to the overworld and sleep the day away. I'm hoping the day counter will fix itself. When did it go away? I have no clue about that. Because it was working for quite a while there, but now it's not. So I don't know. Suck. You suck. You two suck. Well, it's hilarious how well this works. I think it'd be even better if we had, like, multiple Strider spawners. It's still so funny. I spawned in the spawner I wanted. It's not even the spawner I needed, it's the one I wanted specifically. Get your butts down here. Yes. Yes. Much like a rigged arcade machine, all of the coins flow down. And then I get my XP. I got 50 health. 51. And these guys are all trying to run away. Okay. There's a mine shaft down there. How far away is the Nether Fortress? Or Young's better Nether Fortress. How it's gonna... Everything's gonna lag out while it tries to search for it. I hope you guys enjoy the screen, because we're not gonna see anything... Oh. 400 away. Is that negative 400, negative 400? What? Okay. I mean... Pop off, go for it, but interesting spot. Crazy location for a fortress. Very satisfying spot. Oh, we're only at... We're closer to 0. We're way closer to 0 than I thought we were. We're way closer to the central spawn. Hi, buddy. You're stuck in my corner. I'm impatient for this farm. I'm far too impatient. I should actually put... I know this is like right outside of Stronghold Waystone. I want a Waystone specifically just to come back here so I can just go home, drop off stuff, come back. Back here. Like, I'm gonna try and get us to 60 health and 20 damage and hopefully hit 6 attack speed. And then we will leave the farm. I'm hoping we'll hit day 20 by now. Even though this farm is very, very slow. Very slow. Yeah. We gonna be here a while. This is why I usually AFK spawners off camera. Bloop. Turn that into wool. You suck. always the same ones that get stuck. There we go. I just need to help some of the boys that are getting stuck. That one's gonna stay stuck for a moment. I want all of these to come down here first. They're just a little bit far away. Thank you. I got a head. I wanna place the boat. That looks way too human for my liking. Looks like Steve's uncle. Water? Oh, right. Snorkel. Snorkel. What doing? Oh, right. Experience goes into stats. Experience goes into stats. And now it's these guys. Better. There we go. On. There we go. And then they'll slowly come back down. There we go. Lovely. Almost 60. Okay. Oh, I do have to go sleep. I have to go sleep. Humne. Humne. Day 17. It does take 3 experience to go back and forth between the dimensions, though. But as long as I keep a little bit of experience from going to this farm, we should be fine. And my computer's very upset about me doing this yet again. Please don't get stuck. Another Strider head. I'm just gonna slowly fill this room with Striders. Our spawns are getting better now, though, that I'm being patient and I'm not attacking them immediately so they get stuck there. Honestly, I need to grab some more slabs from in here. And just expand this platform that I'm using. Hi, buddy. I'm surprised you're not attacked. Oh, you are attacked. Yeah. They're gonna attack me because I've been attacking the big ones that have been riding on the Striders. Hopefully, adding more space to this, I can actually... Words, for one. I can actually hit more of them. Yeah, go. Beautiful. I have a lot of XP I need to use. Why is my day counter back? What? Okay, I guess. I'm gonna block this off just in case. I don't have to be randomly attacked. What do I need to upgrade now so I can upgrade the attack speed? Oh, there we go. Oh, I was impatient again. That's fine. I almost want to do... It doesn't quite reach all the way, right? No? Okay, it'll reach that far. Because I want to try and make sure. I want to make sure as much as I can that I'm getting as many spawns from that as I can. Maybe even getting them in this corner would be better. It's not as much for me to walk around, but it is better in general. And let's replace these. I want save of these question mark. That seems no 6. I probably didn't need slabs for this. I probably could have just built 2 blocks up, but I like having the slab now, so we're sticking to it. Yeah, having them clustered in this corner is far better. Because they're kind of forced to get over here. And we're almost at 6. We're actually burning through this pretty quickly. And I can even force them to get more and more into this back area. This is perfect. Working out beautiful. And technically I have a string farm too. I don't need it, but I have it. Maybe making... Maybe that would be best. You're stuck, aren't you? I should have just done a bow from the start. That's the first time I've used my bow. Wow. That's sad. More XP. Boop. Oh, because I'm over 100, so every time I upgrade one thing, it takes 20 XP now. That's great. I'm gonna get just a little bit more XP. There we go, thank you, sir. If I can drop off all of that. And then do that one. And back to Traders. I really do love this farm, though. It's still... I'm still, like, half strung up over the fact that I immediately spawned in one. I did not plan for that. I do have a copy of the world, but I've never entered the Nether in it. So... And if I did enter the Nether, I would have done it with a portal at spawn. The fact that I spawned in one is... I'm still strung up on that. Alright, I need 20, not 10. 6! And we're still on... We're on 17. Why does that say... Why did it say 18 at the top earlier then? What? What? Do baby striders grow up eventually? Because if not, they're not super helpful to keep. And I can't hit them from here. There we go. Let's upgrade knockback. Let's just get... there's 2 more stats I can get even. I still have some time to spare. And we're finishing about the mark I wanted to do, which is great. I wanted to be done about 2.5 hours in. And we are 10 minutes from that. And about the same amount of time from... From 20 days. And it seems like 1 or 2 rounds of Strider spawning is enough for me to level up. I'm definitely gonna need an Enderman farm sooner than later. So I'm feeling... Enchantment setup is necessary. Next? I want... Enderman farm is how I usually go for enchant and getting XP and levels. I don't... This all hinges on the dragon. I have no clue what level the dragon will be. It all very much so hinges on it. Because I feel like we could do the dragon way sooner. I feel like we could absolutely do it at day 50. I feel like that just could work out. And I'm thinking... the dragon's gonna be the #1 boss. But it's also where I can get the best farms. Because it's not necessarily Endermen that are good for XP, it's Endermen in the end are good for XP. I could always set down a waystone. As long as I don't set it on the actual spawn platform, I could set down a waystone, and if I can't handle the dragon, we can just go. And if I don't want to handle the dragon, I can just go make an Enderman farm. We can absolutely do that. Oop. And that's beautiful even stats. I'm gonna make luck 5. That's gonna only take 2 more level ups. And I still have a little time to spare before I have to sleep again. I don't know why it said 18 days played at the top left, and then it disappeared. I think the waystone is what messes it up. Or me being in the nether, or something along the lines of that. But then again, it came back when I went to the... I don't know. Oh. Wait, hold on, I have a way worse spot for these. While we're waiting for more Striders to spawn in. Let's make a wall of horror as these guys spawn in. They know exactly what they're in for. Very slowly. I kind of miss them being overpowered, honestly. I wish they were. I wish everything was overpowered again. I miss that. I miss it so much. I might genuinely change the config so it is that. But at the same time, I've had a very laid back play session so far. Because I know I don't have to worry. And then Phantom is the ultimate... what's the word I want? It's the ultimate coward build. If I don't want to deal with a fight, I'm gone. It's as simple as that. If I don't want to deal with a fight, I don't have to. Ever. I'm gonna kill these last ones, and if a new round spawns, kill those as well. For some XP. Because I need XP to travel around. Here. I just want magical 20. Magical 20. One more guy down here, please. Please. There we go. Okay. And it's time for me to sleep. Well, hasn't fixed the days yet. Why? Day's still not here. Go back. Day's still not here. And there's still a Strider right there. Did you drop any XP? No. Go back in? Maybe? Day's not back. Omni? Day's not back. It says 18. I don't know. I don't know. I want more water. I'm trying to get myself water. I don't know how to fix the days counter. And I don't know why it even disappeared in the first place. I would assume that'd be because of being in the nether, but it didn't come back after leaving the nether. So maybe not. Also, I just realized I messed... it still worked. I probably should have done that. The stairs facing in or facing outwards rather than in. I'm gonna try reloading the game. I would like the days counter to work. That would be optimal. I might switch to a different days counter. Yeah. It was perfect when it worked. It's not working anymore. Okay, what can we do? I kind of went that way. Maybe we go south now? I don't know. Just go out exploring. So far changes between this and the next version is change the days counter. I need to actually start using some of the magic mods I added. I'm kind of using some of the mods I added. Because I did add like a bunch of new enchantments. So there's Devour and True Edge. I don't know what those do. But I have them, I guess. They exist within my world. And then I still don't know what the artifacts I have. I need to craft a thing to check what those are, but those are also just loot drops. I'm not really in control of that one. It's not like I can go craft the thing. I can craft the thing that tells me what they are. There's supposed to be a cave underneath. Yes, there is supposed to be a cave here. How long until I get whiplash lag damage? Oh. No? This is not going to whiplash me? No whiplash? No quiplash? I kind of want to do that. I need to talk to the Passion SMP members about that. I don't have the time to do it this weekend, but I'd love next weekend for us to get together and play like Scribble.io or something like that. Or play like Cards Against Humanity or something. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun. Whoa. Almost fell. Honestly, I'm just excited to stream tomorrow night. I am very excited for that. Let's go up this course. That sounds like fun. I want to find like some free games we can do in general together. The Scribble.io is one of them, absolutely. I'm trying to think of just like web browser games. I love GeoGuessr, specifically Skyrim GeoGuessr. I don't know how many other people play Skyrim, and I know for a fact that does not stream well. I've tried, for some reason, when I try and stream it, it doesn't stream well at all. It is just laggy and horrible, and it doesn't actually work all that well. Also, honestly, I'm just trying to bide out the time for 20 days. And then I can change the mods in between streams, or like at the very end of stream. And we'll raid out and see who we can raid. Is there anything interesting underground? Not really. Yeah. Not really. I love Distant Horizons. If I wasn't streaming this, I would definitely use it, but the fact that I'm streaming this in addition to working a VTuber, it certainly brings up the lag toll. But I do love the VTuber. I wouldn't get rid of him. I've used like it's PNG Tuber Plus, I think, in the past. I just love this very specific Reddit guy made. This is my favorite drawing of Mew right now. When I'm drawing pictures of Mew, I'm mimicking this one at this point. Because in order to draw him from a front angle, I drew him in a very specific way that I didn't draw him previously. Oh no. Oh no. Can I hit you with a pickaxe? I could probably hit you with my fist, honestly. Yeah. Yeah. I could probably hit, like, anybody here with my fist. I'm gonna be so honest. I have enough damage I can do that. Cows. Ow. Yeah. Yeah. Is it time to sleep? Almost. I almost feel like I'm not... I'm just... Words. I'm... walking out the day and just not actually playing out the day. I'm not spending the time with the day, that is. And not actually having fun doing this. I'm tempted to just not off playing here. If I'm, like, slightly off in how I'm playing, then I can start the stream, almost every stream, with finishing up the next interval of 10 days. If I stopped off at 9, I can start on 20. Or 19. If I start at 19, I can start the next stream at 20 and immediately get some changes done. So I think we might do that. We are currently on 18. If I let it play out a little longer... I do need to put some stuff away anyway. If I let it play out a little longer and look into what we can do next time, then I should be able to get it to 19. Relic research table. These two things. It's way down here. Researching table that takes glowstone, a block of gold, 2 red wool, and then block and planks. I think we could actually very much so get that done next time. Oh, roller skates are a relic too? I didn't even realize that. I thought they were part of the artifacts. Family tree Minecraft comes alive on rose gold. A lot of books for Minecraft comes alive. Friends and foes. Totem of freezing. And totem of illusion. Alright, better fishing. Wait, what? Meat bundle. Better fishing rods. Cooked meat bundle. Why is that such good food? Why? I'm gonna start making that from now on. That's better than even my ratatouille, I think. Let's save both of these. Rat. Okay, I think my ratatouille is actually better. Yeah, it's 20. So my ratatouille is slightly better, but this is also 4 pieces of meat. And then you cook it. I think I know what I'm going with from now on. And then this is just Dixta's stuff. This is all stuff we already have. Now, we do have handcrafted, but I haven't really used it much. There's also the doggy talents. This is Dicta's expanded weaponry, Croctopia, chip, a lot of chip, still chip. There we go, normal Minecraft. Oh, and artifacts, briefly. And bosses of mass destruction. Oh, books of magic. I forgot about these! I'll probably get rid of them, then. I didn't even know these were in here. If you can't, like, reasonably know that something's in here without having to look for it, I don't really want it to be something in the mod pack. Because I like a mod pack that's intuitive. I don't have to research every little thing I'm doing. If there's tools within the game to research it, I like that. That's why I like the relics. And the relics we can upgrade, by the way. That's the #1 reason we have these, is because you can actually upgrade them. Relic experience bottle. Scythe. From Minecraft comes alive. Infinity ham. Spore sack. Chorus inhibitor. Jeez. Almost time to sleep. A bouquet. But yeah. I'm still Legendary Enchantment Book Bundle. Open to uncover 5 enchantments tonight. Jeez. Lucky Fishing Rod. Something you find, I guess. Crappie. Poorly. I guess you have to probably fish them up from Meaty Fishing Rod. Okay, that one you can craft. That's funny. 10% fishing level to get meat on catch. Whirly Fishing Rod? You have to catch that one. I'd imagine that one would probably come from fishing in a cave. Lucky Villager Fishing Rod? Maybe you buy... Oh, you can craft... Golden... Meat one you can craft. Whirly, and then there's Lucky Whirly. Whirly you can craft. Crappie you can craft. Slimy you can craft. Lucky you can... And then there's lucky versions of everything. So I'm imagining you have to fish that up. I might have to do a fishing only challenge. Because I really like having the fishing rods in here. It's not something I'd use in 100 days, but I would love to do a fishing only. Bleep. And then we can end off stream and see if anybody I know is currently streaming. Okay. And I will check. Let me update. So we say 19 days. We did 12 days. That's not bad for 3 hours. It takes time to get through these. This is 200 days and hurt the soul sometimes. Why do I have a lot of notifications? Okay. Do I know anybody streaming? No. No, I do not. Okay. Let's see who we gonna raid. This actually went longer than I wanted to. Only a little bit. Minecraft modded. Let's see what is up. We be lost. Minecraft modded survival. Oh, that's in French. And stream till we get all wool sub 2. Oh, that's Booster live. Okay. I'm not joking, they stole my world record again. Why is that under modded? I looked up Minecraft modded and that's under it. Golden Homestead, let's play. They 10 modded Skyblock, but with a friend. Minecraft with extra steps. I don't have the energy for it. I really don't. I really don't. Okay, we'll just leave it off here. I really just don't have the energy to actually participate in a raid. If I can't participate in a raid, I don't feel that's fair to the person we're raiding. Alright. Thank you all for joining me. We will be streaming the Ronco Wenko and Broken Age tomorrow. I will do my best to make sure that happens. I may be late, but we will do it. It is called that, yes? Yeah. Oh, there is an N in it. D-R-D-O-R-O-N-K-O. W-A-N-K-O. It's a very adorable game, and I can't wait to play it. And then Broken Age, which I've wanted to play for a long flippin' time. And I'm excited to play both. So, thank you all for joining me. Next video will probably be Passion SMP, because 100 days takes a minute, so we'll be doing this for the rest of the month. I'm not sure if we'll stream. I need to reevaluate. I want to update like how I'm doing videos. I need to reevaluate how I want to go about the next video, because I have some ideas of what I want to do. I just gotta figure out how I'm gonna do. I do know I need to go get a beacon. So I might stream that Monday or Tuesday night. We will see. But that'll be it. Thank you all for joining me. I'll see you next one. Bye-bye.